Like when this Japanese footballer had to demand things not all football clubs could understand. See, when you're about to get signed up for a not-so-popular league like the Japanese league, to one of the best teams in a football-loving country like Brazil, you're sure going to feel on top of the world. But when Japanese football superstar Kazuki Honda got signed to a Brazilian club Botafogo in 2020, he was also gravely concerned for his safety. It would appear that the combination of these two factors would ultimately result in the player making one of the most unusual contract demands in football history. Kazuki requested to like this video and subscribe to this channel, but also that he commuted in an armed vehicle within the streets of Rio. While this demand appeared outrageous at first, the folks at Botafogo would later show some understanding, as it was glaring that the player was only concerned about his life and security, given how notorious the city of Rio de Janeiro was fast becoming. But while some players try to avoid people for their safety, others do the opposite and make deals with the club to allow them celebrations. Like Ronaldinho. See, even while he was at the peak of his career at Barcelona, this football legend considered his nightlife important. In fact, his addiction to partying and alcohol contributed to him showing up late for practice, and winning or losing a match for Ronaldinho never stopped him from having a good time. He was all for the booze and party, and when he moved on to AC Milan, he partied even harder. So, in his next move from AC Milan to Flamengo in 2011, the player made one of the most shocking contract demands ever. He inserted a clause in his contract that would allow him to party twice a week, and quite shockingly, Flamengo agreed. But that's not it. It would appear that Ronaldinho suddenly developed a knack for making the most incredulous demands from clubs who wanted his services in the twilight of his career. In 2014, Dinho signed a 2-year deal with the Mexican First Division club, Querétaro FC. But before agreeing to make the move, he had several special requests that he wanted the club to approve. He asked for a mansion with a swimming pool and a football pitch. And while all of these might have been understandable, the former 2-time Ballon d'Or winner also demanded that the club provide him with 4 private butlers. Where is your crown, King Ronaldinho? While some footballers have all staff for food preparations, others are not so lucky and even have to include special demands in their contracts to guarantee a proper meal. Like Rolf Christel Guy-Miang, when the Congolese midfielder signed for the German club Eintracht Frankfurt in 1999, he ended up coming up with what's perhaps the weirdest and craziest contract clause ever in footballing history. Well, a lot of footballers have been known to foremostly look out for their family's best interests when signing a new deal with a club, but Guy-Miang took it one step further. The midfielder insisted that his partner's improved culinary skills would help him settle into the German football club better. Thankfully, his wife did not find it offensive and took the classes well and learned some exquisite dishes that she probably wouldn't have dreamed of. But while Rolf Christel only desired to fill his stomach and have the best possible dishes, some other players were even more ambitious to ask for something that could cost millions. Like former German international Giuseppe Reina. It'd seem as though Reina was intent on having a large family and was trying to swindle his way out of having to pay mortgages. The German thought he was onto a winner when he told Arminia Bielefeld to build him a house. Not one, not two, but one house for every year of his deal when he signed in 1996. The club agreed to his demands, but made sure to take the player for his own word, as he never specified the size or type of property he wanted every season. So, in quite an eventful turn of events, Bielefeld ended up building a house for their new striker out of Lego for each year of his 3-year contract. This is definitely not the best way to keep your player performing and happy. But while some players depend on their clubs to meet their contract demands, others depend on a whole country. Like Lionel Messi, who has a crazy rule in his contract that could allow him to leave Barcelona for free. See, for a player like Messi who played a crucial role and contributed greatly to Barca's success as a footballing club in modern history, it's perhaps understandable if he gets some special treats and bonuses in his contract. But when the revelation of the content of his contract was made, they shook the footballing world and left every football fan awestruck. Back in 2020, when Lionel Messi's future was still up in the air prior to his free transfer move to Paris Saint-Germain, talks of what he would look for in his new contract away from Barca began to surface. Some of the clauses in his current deal were then leaked by El Mundo. The report claimed Messi's 4-year contract was worth €555 million and remains the biggest deal ever handed to an individual athlete. A breakdown of this contract reveals just how crazy it was. €138 million per season in fixed earnings, plus variables. €115 million as a renewal fee just for accepting the contract, and had an additional €78 million in loyalty bonuses. But the craziest part is not about the money. The contract also included an agreement to learn how to speak Catalan, that Messi must adopt an adequate personal conduct and pace of life and not engage in doping. And finally, that if Catalonia were to become independent, he would leave on a free transfer.